Tonight, Florida's Child Protective Services is in the spotlight after American Idol finalist Syesha Mercado and her husband Tyron Deneer came on the show last night and spoke about the removal of their 2 young children. Their first child was taken from them when they went to Johns Hopkins Hospital in February after he had trouble transitioning from breast milk to solids. A doctor called Child Protective Services claiming the baby was malnourished. Then just last week, their 10-day-old baby girl was taken from them when police surrounded their car, forcing them to stop and pull over, then give up their baby to caseworkers from CPS, claiming they weren't notified about the child's birth.
In the country right now and having a situation where I'm not, if I tried in that moment to really protect my family, I would have ended up either incarcerated or lost my life. So just, it ain't easy watching that video to willingly have to give up 2 babies within a 6 months time frame when our whole life is about family. So it's not just watching that, just, you know, it's something I wouldn't wish on nobody, just being honest, to any father or especially any mother, you know, because it's very important for any newborn to bond with their mother. You know what I mean? Health is more than just what you consume through food, but also the nurturing, you know, the bonding. Like, these are things that have been stripped away from my wife that I have no words to comfort her through a time like this, you know. So it's not easy watching that video, just being honest.
I mean, it's difficult for us to watch, so I can't imagine what it's like for you all to have to relive that moment. Tyron, talk to me about what we saw in that video and why you decided to start streaming to Instagram Live.
We've been going through this for months with CPS, with Manatee County Sheriff's Department, and through this whole ordeal of Ahmaud Ra being taken and Aset being taken, it's just been, we've been judged and misunderstood. The best way I can put it is a lack of cultural competency. That's where there was no transparency in that if we look different, walk different, and talk different, that would be criminalized. That us being vegans, you know, not consuming meat, not consuming dairy, none of these things are illegal. So when you look at the misunderstanding and misrepresentation of my family, it's been criminalized. Like, we have no criminal background, we have no history with Department of Children and Family. So the way they started an investigation with Ahmaud Ra, which continued all the way up until this point where they took our daughter Aset, they were attacking what we represent. We haven't done anything, and we're going to stand firm on that because we know who we are. We know the level of responsibility that we live with every day based off our decisions and how we treat each other and how we treat our babies. So for these past 6 months, I felt the need to just capture that, because most people, when people heard about Ahmaud Ra being taken from us, it was almost like, some people would be like, well, what did y'all do wrong? And then some people that know us would be like, why are they treating y'all like this? So at that time, going live was giving the opportunity for the people that have been with us this whole time and supporting us getting Ra back. They can see the Manatee County Sheriff's Department dehumanizing us. You know what I mean? That we communicated with them. They're saying that we were going to cooperate and meet them at the Sheriff's Department so they can see our daughter, and they chose to pull us over on the side of the road and take our newborn baby on the side of the road. They made that decision. So I just felt the need to just show people, like, this is just a small snippet of what we've been going through. So, and this is the response, and I'm glad it's got the attention, is because that there's been so many families that have been reaching out to us that have been going through this similar situation, but they just haven't had the courage to speak out. And it ain't easy watching that video.
No, you know, let me bring in Lewis. Lewis, the police claim they were performing a surprise welfare check on the family when they stopped their vehicle and surrounded them because they weren't able to get in touch with them. Is this sort of welfare check traffic stop normal protocol?
It's not. First of all, that's absolutely false. One, what we saw in that video, as you well know, that's a felony stop. When you surround a car and you have multiple units, armed units, pulling a car over. We see that when we're looking at drug busts and violent felonies. We don't see that when you're dealing with a child pickup order, especially not if in absence of a kidnapping or Amber Alert. We almost never see that when you're talking about the family. And so, one, we know that the stop itself, that it was false. But going deeper than that, if we will, is that we can tell how pretextual this is because on that morning and on the night before, this family and Attorney McBurrows made attempts to contact DCF on the emergency hotline. And that's what's not being said, is that this family attempted to lawfully surrender the child in compliance with the court order, and the Manatee Sheriff's Office said they had no one available on that night. The next morning, they seemed to have more than 6 units available to conduct a felony stop in middle of the major highway. And we all know that felony stops are dangerous because they place all parties involved in danger. Except here, they were placing a young, beautiful baby girl who was only 10 days old in that kind of danger without any justifiable reason.
Syesha, tell us more about your kids, Amenra and Aset, and starting with their names, their beautiful names, and they're so interesting. How did you come up with their names?
Ra named himself. When I got pregnant with Ra, I would always touch my belly. We love being in the sun, so I would just sit in the sun and sunbathe, and I would just touch my belly, and I kept hearing the word sunshine. And so I knew that Ra was connected to the sun, and that meant sun. And so I thought of Ra, and Ty thought of Amun-Ra. So it was a collaboration. But I love the sun, and it just resonated with me, and I really felt like my baby was speaking to me even when he was in the womb. And Aset was all Ty. He came up with that. But Ra, he loves being outside. As soon as we could take him outside, we took him outside, and we would go for walks every day. And we would sit by the water. I would let him watch the turtles. He even saw an alligator a couple of times. He loves playing the drums. And I know a lot has changed now because he hasn't been in our care, but that was what he really loved. And he loved listening to Bob Marley. We have a record player, and we would just listen to it every single day. One Love. He had his favorite song, so he loved listening to music with us. He loved playing drums with us. He loved going on walks every day. Sometimes we try to go back inside the house, and he would be like, he want to stay outside. So, and Aset, I haven't had the opportunity to spend much time with my baby girl. But she ushered in a lot of peace for us. Even just giving birth to her was a form of meditation for us. It was just a beautiful experience. And with everything going on, when she was born, I felt so much peace. And what's getting me through right now is she left peace with me, and I still feel her. And I just want to be with my babies.
We've reached out to the Manatee County Sheriff's Department and the Florida Department of Children and Families, to which the agencies sent us a lengthy statement that reads in part, children are removed from caregivers when present danger for neglect or abuse is detected by highly trained child protective investigators. The Department of Children and Families' #1 priority is the safety of the child. But this issue isn't just about Florida's Child Protective Services or Syesha Mercado and her children. What happened in this case happens to Black families and their children every day across this country. Next, I'll speak with renowned professor and author Dorothy Roberts about why and how this happens. So stay tuned.